Hello, my name is Stevie Martin with the Avaya Serviceability Engineering team. This video is a demonstration of the areas of the Red Hat Linux installation that are specific to the ACE core. Avaya ACE supports a Red Hat Linux-based installation for standalone high availability configurations. This demonstration will use the Red Hat Linux standalone configuration to highlight the ACE-specific configuration requirements. The basic configuration parameters required for the standalone configuration are the core IP address, the server host name, network mask, gateway IP address, the DNS IP address, primary and secondary if available, and optionally the NTP server IP address if you're going to be using one with this configuration. During installation of Red Hat Linux, the first area that you need to customize for the ACE core is the hard drive partitions. When you reach this screen, you want to select Create Custom Layout, and the next step you will modify the partitions based on the table and installation planning guide. The recommended hardware configuration for Release 3.0 on is 3 by 300 gigabyte hard drives and 24 gigabytes of RAM using RAID 5. Some of the basic configuration steps you have to perform to customize Red Hat Linux prior to the installation of ACE core is to modify the firewall, disable Security Enhanced Linux, modify the NTP settings, and turn off software updates. For a firewall, we want to ensure that SSH is enabled. We want to ensure that HTTPS is enabled. And we want to ensure that the HTTP port is enabled as well. We wish to disable Security Enhanced Linux. If you have an external network time protocol server you wish to specify, you would do so at this time. You select Enable Network Time Protocol. You would delete the default NTP servers if you don't wish to use them. And you would add the NTP server IP address that you wish to point your Red Hat Linux operating system to. You'd also turn off automatic updates for software. You want to do this, or your server could go out and try to download an update and wipe out your ACE installation. After you've installed Red Hat Linux, there's some things you should check prior to doing the ACE core install. One of the items you should check is that you actually disabled Security Enhanced Linux. What you're looking for here is that set Linux is equal to disabled. If it is set to enabled, you have to manually change it to disabled and run set enforce space 0 and hit enter, and that will disable Security Enhanced Linux. Another thing you should check is that you did turn off the updates during the installation. Here what you're looking for is that do updates equal to no, do downloads equal to no, and do download dependence is equal to no. If these aren't set, you go here and manually set them and reboot the server. Another thing you can do now, and this is more an option or a preference, is to turn off the splash screen. In this file, in order to turn the splash screen off, you look for ID:5:NIT default. What you want to do is set this to ID:3, and that will set you to full multi-user mode. Another thing you should check is your partitions. What you're looking for here is ensure that the partitions you set up during the Red Hat install match what is listed in the planning and installation guide. The planning and installation guide also has a list of packages that you should check to ensure that they're installed, and also a number of packages that you should check if they're installed need to be removed. In order to query a package, you run the command RPM space -Q for query space the package name. Once you verify that a package is installed, you can also verify that its status is running. To remove a package, you can use the check config command. If you run the command on a package and get an error message, that is actually good here. What that's saying is the package wasn't installed and you don't have to worry about it no more. Note the 2 dashes before the delete instead of 1. Please refer to the installation planning guide once again for any other checks you should make. If you're installing the HA configuration, you're going to have to set up the network bonding between the two servers. Also, in most standalone environments, you will have VLANs. You are required to set up VLAN tagging for your system. We will go through a brief example how to set this up manually on a standalone server. You change directory /etc/sysconfig/network scripts. This directory contains all the network scripts for that particular installation. For this installation, I know we're using Ethernet 0. So what you have to do is copy ifcfg-eth0 to a file called ifcfg-eth0.the VLAN ID. For this particular subnet, the VLAN ID is 3. Once you've copied this, you have to modify both files. The ETH0 file, you'll want to set boot proto to none. Boot proto is a protocol that's used to initialize the device and has 3 settings: static, DHCP, and none. You will also need to remove the IP addresses from this file. You will leave behind the hardware address. We will leave the on boot tag. This tag specifies whether the device should start when the system starts. We'll also add the tag user control and set it equal to no. What this attribute does, it directs that only root or system users can control the device. You want to save it and exit. Now you have to modify the VLAN tag network device. The first thing you have to do is modify the device to indicate the VLAN tag. So in this case, it'd be ETH0 dot the VLAN ID. As before, you set boot proto to none. You will have to remove the hardware address from this file as it's in the main ETH0 file. Leave on boot equal to yes in here. You would add user CTL as in the ETH0 file. You also need to add one additional attribute in here. We need to add VLAN equals yes. What this do is it will cause the network startup scripts to automatically run the vconfig, that's VCONFIG, command, and this will add the necessary VLAN entries into /proc/net/VLAN for each VLAN tag identified. Right now what you got to do is stop the network service and restart it. This will bind in the VLAN ID, and also if you made any errors in modifying the files, you will see it now. Once you've reached this stage, you'll be able to access your server using PuTTY or some other tool to SSH to the device. Is at this time you'd start the installation of the ACE core. Thank you for your time today. We hope this information was useful to you. We welcome comments, questions, and feedback at mentor@avaya.com or on Twitter @AvayaMentor. Thank you for choosing Avaya.